In recent years, the way we consume has changed faster than we realized, not because of a sudden revolution, but through a series of small daily shifts, almost invisible, that together have shaped a new economic model.
Today, buying is no longer an isolated act, but an ongoing process, often spread over time. We pay in installments, we pay through subscriptions, we pay almost without thinking, and this has changed the value we assign to things.
New generations are not less interested in consumption. They are interested in it differently. They buy more often, but with less attachment. They use and let go, they test, they switch, they come back. Ownership is no longer the central point. What matters is access, the ability to have something when it's needed and to let it go when it stops being useful.
This is why services like streaming, sharing, renting, and secondhand are not alternatives, but the norm. It's not about giving up, it's about optimizing time, space, attention. Even the concept of saving has changed. It no longer simply means spending less, but spending better according to personal parameters, which can be quality, environmental impact, aesthetics, or simply convenience.
All of this happens in a context where information is immediate, reviews are everywhere, price comparisons are automatic, so purchase decisions are more informed but also faster. There is less overthinking and more post-verification. If something doesn't work, it gets returned, resold, commented on.
Consumption becomes reversible, and this lowers the perception of risk, pushing people to try new things, new brands, new models. Companies know this and build flexible offers, beta versions, continuous launches, constant updates.
You no longer buy a finished product, but a system that evolves and buyers accept it, often even expect it, because they are used to living in a world that changes continuously. New generations are not looking for solid certainties. They are looking for adaptable tools, and this applies to technology, fashion, food, travel, and work. Consumption has become functional to lifestyle, not the other way around, and lifestyle is fluid, mobile, hybrid.
People work from multiple places, live in smaller spaces, travel more but differently, eat out and at home without a clear distinction. All of this reshapes demand and changes what has value and what doesn't. For example, experience matters more than accumulation, not in a romantic sense, but in a practical one. An experience takes up less space, creates fewer constraints, is easier to share, and above all is more compatible with an unstable present. Even the concept of luxury has shifted. It's not just a high price, but time saved, personalization, absence of friction. A service that works well is worth more than an iconic object. And this is very clear to new generations, who reward those who simplify, not those who complicate.
The new economy is built on speed and adaptation, but also on a massive amount of data. Every consumption choice produces information, and this information is used to anticipate needs, propose solutions, reduce friction. The result is a market that seems to speak directly to people, sometimes too much, creating a feeling of saturation. This is where new behaviors emerge. Digital breaks, more selective consumption, attention to mental well-being, not as ideology but as practical necessity, because constant exposure to stimuli costs energy, and new generations know this. That's why they alternate between phases of hyperconsumption and phases of withdrawal, not out of moral coherence but for balance. Consumption becomes modular, adaptive, it turns on and off. The relationship with brands changes as well.
There is no long-term loyalty. There is a relationship as long as it works, as long as certain expectations are met. Transparency, clear pricing, ease of use. When these conditions fail, people move on without drama. This makes the market more competitive, but also more honest, because the power of choice is distributed. New generations don't want to be persuaded. They want to verify. In this scenario, the economy is no longer something distant. It is a daily presence, integrated into apps, habits, micro decisions.
Understanding how consumption has changed means understanding how priorities have changed. Less accumulation, more flexibility, less status, more functionality, fewer promises, more concrete results. That's where the new economy can really be read.
This change doesn't only concern what we buy, but how and why a decision is made. Today, the path is shorter but denser. People move from idea to purchase in seconds, often from the same device used to talk, work, and get information. This compression of time has changed expectations. If something isn't immediate, it's perceived as obsolete. If a service is slow, it gets abandoned. If a brand doesn't respond, it gets replaced. There is little patience because the system has taught that alternatives exist everywhere.
This has made consumers more demanding but also more pragmatic. They don't seek perfection, they seek continuity, something that works without creating friction. The new economy grows on this need, reducing steps, eliminating intermediaries, simplifying. That's why many companies today are valued not for what they produce, but for how they organize access. Platforms, marketplaces, services that connect supply and demand quickly. New generations move through these spaces naturally. They don't see a difference between online and offline, between physical and digital. For them, it's all part of the same flow. A product is discovered on social media, its price is compared through an app, it's purchased on a website, picked up in a physical location. This isn't perceived as complex, it's normal. Consumption becomes a fragmented but coherent journey, and those who can't operate within this logic lose relevance.
The relationship with money has also changed. It's no longer just something to accumulate or spend. It's a tool for managing everyday life. Automatic budgeting, digital payments, microtransactions, everything is more fluid and less visible. This makes consumption psychologically lighter, but also more continuous. People spend without feeling the immediate weight, which is why attention to control grows, to apps that help monitor, to systems that make everything clearer. New generations are not unaware. They are immersed in a system that requires new skills, knowing how to read a subscription contract, understanding what you're really paying for, distinguishing value from noise. This also affects ethical choices, which are not ideological but functional. Sustainability, inclusivity, responsibility become criteria when they are integrated into the product, not when they are slogans. If a sustainable choice costs too much in terms of time or money, it gets discarded.
If it's simple, it gets adopted. Responsible consumption is not a sacrifice. It's an efficient solution. This is a key point of the new economy, making better choices also the easiest ones. New generations reward those who succeed at this, those who eliminate decision fatigue. At the same time, the value of personalization grows, not as a luxury but as a standard. Recommendations, tailored offers, adaptable products. Everything needs to feel designed for the individual, even if it's produced at scale. This functional illusion fuels the bond with services, not because they are unique, but because they are relevant. In this scenario, traditional marketing loses strength. It's not enough to tell a story, you have to prove it. It's not enough to promise, you have to work. New generations don't separate communication from product. If the experience is negative, the narrative collapses. If the experience is good, communication becomes spontaneous. Reviews, word of mouth, user-generated content. Consumption tells its own story. This shifts power because companies no longer fully control the message. They have to listen, adapt, respond. Even the concept of success changes.
It's no longer just infinite growth, but the ability to remain relevant, to update, to not become a burden. This applies to people as well, who build consumption identities aligned with their life phase. Today, someone can be minimalist, and tomorrow accumulate. Today, price conscious, and tomorrow quality driven. There is no fixed trajectory, and the market adapts by offering options, variations, levels. Consumption becomes modular, like life. In all of this, a practical awareness emerges. Time is the scarcest resource, more than money. Consumption choices increasingly revolve around this. People pay to save time, give up what wastes it, seek efficiency without rigidity. The new economy is no longer just production and sales. It is the management of time and attention. New generations know this, even when they don't say it.
They show it through their daily choices, fast, flexible, sometimes inconsistent, but always functional. And understanding how consumption has changed means stopping the search for a single model and starting to observe real behaviors, the ones that happen every day quietly between one tap and the next, because that's where the new economy takes shape, not in big speeches, but in small, repeated decisions.